Stop listening to financial gurus who tell you to cut your own hair to save pennies. That is not finance, that is misery. Real wealth isn't about suffering, it's about leverage. And right now, the leverage is entirely in the hands of corporations. They use algorithms to extract maximum profit from your wallet. Insurance companies slowly creep up your rates, hoping you are too lazy to notice. Retailers predict what you want before you do, just to make you panic buy. They are betting against your attention span. So, let's turn the tables. What happens when you deploy your own AI agents to fight theirs? I spent the last month automating my finances against these predatory algorithms. I didn't lift a finger, I didn't budget, and I definitely didn't stop buying coffee. Yet, I found $212 of free money in just 30 days. This feels like cheating, but it's 100% legal. Let me show you how to set it up. But before we unleash the bots, we have to look at the battlefield. We have to understand why you are losing money in the first place. We are going to look at the math behind these savings. We will look at the psychology of why you are currently overpaying for everything. And finally, I will show you how to set up this Iron Dome for your money. Before we get to the tools, we have to understand why we lose money. Economists call this the lazy tax. But that is a bit mean. It is actually called inertia, and corporations love it more than they love profit. Inertia is the tendency for a body at rest to stay at rest. In financial terms, it means you will keep paying for a service simply because canceling is annoying. Let's look at the math of subscription fatigue, because the numbers are honestly terrifying. The average modern consumer spends nearly $300 a month on subscriptions alone. That includes streaming, gym memberships, software, cloud storage, and those random boxes of snacks. A recent study showed that people underestimate their subscription spending by 2.5 times. You think you spend $100, but you are actually spending $250. This gap exists because our brains are not designed to track 50 tiny recurring payments. We are designed to spot a lion in the bushes, not a Spotify price hike. Companies know this, so they make signing up incredibly easy and canceling incredibly hard. They use dark patterns in their web design to hide the unsubscribe button. This is where the lazy tax really starts to add up in your life. You know you should call your internet provider to negotiate that bill down, but you don't, because sitting on hold for an hour is a nightmare. You know you should shop around for car insurance every 6 months, but you don't, because filling out those forms is boring and takes forever. So you stay with the same provider, and they raise your rate by 5%. You don't notice the 5% because it is just a few dollars. But across 10 different bills, those few dollars become hundreds of dollars very quickly. This is death by 1,000 cuts, and it is bleeding your potential wealth dry. The problem is that you are a human being with a limited amount of willpower. You have a job, a family, and hobbies, so optimizing bills is low priority. But an artificial intelligence agent does not get tired, and it does not get bored. It does not have social anxiety about negotiating with a customer service representative. It just executes the code it was given, over and over again, until it wins. We are going to break down this $200 saving into 3 distinct pillars. The first pillar is what I call the Vampire Slayer protocol. This involves using AI to identify and ruthlessly eliminate zombie subscriptions that you forgot about. Most banking apps claim to do this, but they are usually terrible at it. True AI agents can scan your transaction history and identify patterns that look like waste. For example, did you know you are paying for both Peacock and Paramount Plus? And did you know you haven't opened either app in nearly 3 months. The AI flags this redundancy and asks you a simple yes or no question. Do you want to keep paying $15 for a service you do not use? When you click no, the AI navigates the cancellation flow for you. It fills out the forms, clicks the hidden buttons, and terminates the contract. This alone saved me $45 in the first week of my experiment. The second pillar is the negotiation bot, which is my personal favorite part of this system. This is where we take the fight directly to the service providers. There are AI services now that will call your cable company on your behalf. They use natural language processing to understand the script the customer service rep is using. They know exactly what to say to trigger a retention offer or a discount. They threaten to cancel service at the perfect moment to unlock a lower rate. I connected this bot to my internet and cell phone bills on day 1. Within 48 hours, it negotiated my internet bill down by $20 a month. It also found a loyalty discount on my phone plan that saved another $15. That is $35 a month saved for 0 minutes of work on my part. The AI took a percentage of the savings as a success fee, which is fair. I would happily pay a robot a few pennies to save me a fortune. The third pillar is dynamic consumption, which is a fancy way of saying buying smart. This is where we use AI to track prices and predict the best time to buy. You probably use Amazon, and you probably assume the price you see is the price. But prices on Amazon fluctuate wildly based on algorithms that track demand and inventory. An AI shopping assistant watches the items in your cart like a hawk. It analyzes historical price data to tell you if this is a good deal. If the price is artificially high, it tells you to wait a few days. It can even alert you when the price drops to your target number. But we can go deeper than just buying gadgets on the internet. We can use AI to optimize the most expensive part of our weekly budget: food. Food waste is the single biggest money leak for the average American family. We buy vegetables with the best intentions, and then we throw them away a week later. We buy random ingredients for one recipe, and the rest of the jar rots. This is inefficient, and as a finance prodigy, I despise inefficiency. I used a generative AI tool to completely take over my meal planning and grocery list. I took a photo of the inside of my refrigerator and pantry. I uploaded the photo to the AI and gave it a very specific prompt: create a meal plan for the week using these ingredients to minimize waste. The AI analyzed the image, identified the spinach that was about to go bad, and prioritized it. It created 5 dinner recipes that used overlapping ingredients, so nothing would be left over. Then, it generated a shopping list for the missing items only. Here is the crazy part: it cross-referenced that list with local store flyers. It told me exactly which store had the best prices for the things I needed. By strictly following the AI plan, I avoided impulse buys completely. I did not wander down the cookie aisle because the algorithm did not send me there. My grocery bill dropped from $150 a week to $110. That is $40 a week, or $160 a month. When you combine this with the bill negotiation and subscription calling, we are way over target. This works because it removes the emotional component of deciding what to eat for dinner. When you are tired after work, your brain wants high-calorie, expensive takeout. But when the plan is already made and the groceries are already there, you just cook. The AI acts as your prefrontal cortex, making the disciplined decision for you in advance. Now we need to talk about the boring stuff that saves the most money: insurance. Insurance is a game of probability, and loyalty is punished severely in this industry. Companies offer new customer discounts to get you in the door, then raise rates later. They count on you being too overwhelmed to shop around every time your policy renews. I used an AI-powered insurance broker to analyze my coverage against the entire market. It ingested my current policy details, coverage limits, deductibles, and premiums. Then it ran thousands of simulations against other providers to find a matching policy. It found a policy with identical coverage for $17 less per month. Over a year, that is over $200 just for switching a piece of paper. The AI even handled the paperwork of switching the policy over for me. This is the power of asymmetric information finally working in your favor. Usually, the insurance company has all the data, and you have none. They know the risk models, and they know what everyone else is paying. But with an AI agent, you suddenly have access to that same level of data analysis. You level the playing field, and the result is money staying in your pocket. So, how do you actually build this system without spending your whole life setting it up? You need to view your personal finance tech stack as a hierarchy of automation. Level 1 is data aggregation, which means connecting everything to one dashboard. You cannot optimize what you cannot see, so use an app that pulls all accounts together. Level 2 is active monitoring, where you deploy the subscription hunters and bill negotiators. Do this once a year, or set the AI to run a quarterly audit. Level 3 is daily decision support, which is the grocery and shopping AI. This requires a slight behavior change, but the friction is getting lower every day. The goal is to reach a state of zero effort maintenance. Once the negotiating bots are authorized, you don't have to talk to them. Once the subscription canceller is active, it just alerts you when it finds trash. Imagine if you took that $200 a month and invested it instead. If you put that into the S&P 500 every month for 30 years, at an average return, that $200 turns into nearly $400,000. That is the difference between retiring in comfort and working until you are 80. And you achieved it not by suffering, but by being smarter than the system. You achieved it by letting the machines do the dirty work while you lived your life. The era of manual budgeting is dead, and I say good riddance. We have the technology to automate the discipline that we naturally lack as humans. If you are not using AI to defend your wallet, you are voluntarily paying a lazy tax. You are letting corporations reach into your pocket and take money because you are busy. But now you have a bodyguard. You have a finance prodigy in your pocket who is ready to go to war for your dollars. Start with one tool today. Maybe it is the subscription hunter, or maybe it is the grocery planner. Just start automating one small piece of your financial life. Because the most expensive thing you can do right now is nothing. I'm going to go take a nap now, because being a financial genius is exhausting. But you have some algorithms to set up